The ocean was calm that morning, a silver mirror stretching endlessly beneath the rising sun. Then, chaos. A massive shadow surged beneath the surface, sending waves rippling toward the lone swimmer. She barely had time to take a breath before the water erupted around her. A humpback whale, enormous, powerful, and terrifyingly close, rose like a mountain from the deep, its fluke cutting through the air with thunderous force. For a split second she thought it was over. No human survives a collision with a creature that size. But what happened next defied every instinct, every fear, every law of nature she had ever known. Instead of crushing her, the whale nudged her gently, again and again, until she realized it wasn't trying to hurt her, it was trying to hide her. Below, a darker shape moved through the blue, a shark. Massive, circling, waiting, and somehow the whale knew. The swimmer could see it in the animal's eyes, intention, awareness, and something deeper, compassion. That was the moment everything changed. The sea was no longer a place of danger, but a stage for one of the most extraordinary acts of protection ever witnessed in an animal story. She would later struggle to describe what it felt like, the warmth of the whale's body against her, the sound of its heartbeat echoing through the water, the realization that a creature of the wild was risking its life to save hers. But in that instant, she understood something few humans ever do. Animals don't just feel instinct, they feel connection. And that moment, caught between the heartbeat of a giant and the jaws of a predator, would spark a mystery the world would never forget. Before that day, she never feared the ocean. To her, it was freedom, a place where the world fell silent, where thoughts drifted like waves and time simply stopped. Her name was Hannah Lee, a marine biologist who spent her life studying humpback whales. She knew their songs, their migrations, even their moods. But nothing could have prepared her for the moment one of them would risk everything for her. It began like any other morning in the South Pacific. The water was warm, the sun soft against her skin, and the ocean shimmered with life. Hannah had dived countless times before, documenting behaviors, recording whale calls for her research. Yet, that morning something felt different. A strange tension hung in the water, almost like the ocean itself was holding its breath. Then she saw it, the familiar outline of a humpback whale in the distance, massive, graceful, moving slowly through the blue haze. She raised her camera, ready to capture another peaceful moment. But as she swam closer, the whale turned, fast, deliberate, its entire body twisting toward her with urgency. That single movement sent a chill down her spine. Something was wrong. Imagine being there, suspended in that vast, endless blue, when the wild suddenly notices you, not as a threat, not as prey, but as something it needs to protect. That's what she felt in that instant. The whale's presence wasn't random. It was purposeful, intentional, and deep down a part of her already knew she was no longer in control of what would happen next. What unfolded in the minutes that followed would blur the line between instinct and empathy, and remind the world that sometimes the most incredible animal story isn't about survival, it's about connection. The first sign came as a whisper, not through sound, but through vibration. Hannah floated still, her heartbeat syncing with the rhythm of the sea. The ocean had its own language, one she'd learned to respect over years of diving. But this time, it spoke differently. The low-frequency hum vibrated through her chest, deep and pulsing, like the steady beat of a distant drum. It wasn't the usual whale song. It was shorter, urgent, almost like a warning. She turned slowly in the water, her eyes, scanning the endless blue. Nothing, only rays of light breaking through the surface like shards of glass. Her breath came out in small silver bubbles. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, almost alive. And then, through the haze, a shadow emerged. At first it was only a blur, but as it approached, her instincts screamed. The creature was enormous, its silhouette blocking out the sun. Hannah felt the pressure wave before she saw the body, a humpback whale, its colossal form, gliding toward her with surprising precision. Her training told her to stay calm, to make herself small. But the whale didn't charge. It hovered, watching. She felt a strange pull in her chest, a sense that this wasn't random. The whale began to circle her slowly, its eye, large, dark, almost human, locked on hers. For a fleeting moment, she could swear it was studying her, searching for something beyond comprehension. Then it made a sound, a deep, mournful tone that rippled through the water and straight into her bones. The frequency was low enough to feel, not hear. It wasn't aggression, it was communication. The message was clear: stay close. Her camera trembled in her hand as she recorded, whispering through her regulator, "What are you trying to tell me?" But the ocean offered no answers, only the slow, deliberate movement of the whale circling like a guardian. Suddenly, a school of fish scattered violently nearby, breaking the calm. The whale reacted instantly, diving beneath her. With a burst of speed, releasing a powerful wave that nearly spun her around, Hannah looked down and froze. A darker shape had appeared, sleek, fast, and unmistakable. A shark. Her pulse spiked. She could see the shadow cutting through the water, moving in tight arcs beneath them both. But before panic could take hold, the whale rose again, placing its massive body directly between her and the predator. It didn't move away. It stayed there, shielding her. In that moment, she realized the truth. The whale wasn't acting out of fear. It was protecting her. Every motion was deliberate, every sound purposeful. This wasn't instinct, it was intention. And as she clung to the whale's side, her camera forgotten, she whispered through trembling lips, "Why me?" What she didn't know then was that this was only the beginning, a moment that would rewrite everything she thought she understood about animals, empathy, and the mysterious bond that connects all living beings. The ocean darkened. What had been a tranquil blue moments ago now felt like a living storm of movement and fear. Hannah's eyes darted left, right, down, everywhere, searching for the shark's outline, but it was gone, vanished into the gloom below. That was the worst part. You can face what you see, it's what hides that terrifies you. The whale stayed beside her, motionless except for the slow, deliberate movement of its fins. Each time she drifted even slightly away, it repositioned itself. Closer. Protective, almost possessive. Hannah could feel the vibrations of its massive heartbeat through the water, steady but strong, like a shield pulsing between her and the unseen danger. Then the silence shattered. From below came a flash, sleek, fast, and hungry. The shark burst upward, slicing through the blue like a blade. Hannah gasped, instinctively kicking upward, but the whale was faster. It turned its massive body sideways, ramming the water with enough force to send a wall of bubbles, spiraling around them both. For a few seconds, everything was chaos. Sand, plankton, and bubbles swirled together in a blinding cloud. But when the current cleared, Hannah realized something that made her throat tighten. The whale was positioning itself directly underneath her, pressing her upward toward the surface, while keeping its own body between her and the shark. It wasn't fleeing, it was defending. She clung to her camera, torn between awe and terror. Her breathing echoed loud in her ears, too loud, and every exhale felt like a countdown. "Why are you doing this?" she whispered. "You don't even know me." The words were swallowed by the sea, but something about the whale's movements felt like an answer. "Because I do." The shark circled back, closer this time. The water felt tighter, heavier. Hannah could see its eye now, cold, unblinking, and for a moment it locked on hers. Her muscles froze, but before she could react, the whale surged again, releasing a deep, thunderous call that seemed to vibrate through the entire ocean floor. It wasn't just sound, it was command. The shark veered away. Hannah couldn't believe what she was witnessing. This wasn't random. This wasn't instinct. It was calculated, protective in a way that mirrored human compassion. The whale was thinking, acting with purpose. A sudden current pushed her upward. Her lungs burned. Her thoughts blurred. As she reached the surface, the whale surfaced too, sending a fountain of mist into the air. The sunlight hit its wet skin, turning every droplet into gold. Hannah wiped her mask and whispered, "You saved me." But the whale didn't leave. It lingered, circling slowly, watching her, as if making sure the danger was truly gone. And when she finally caught her breath, she realized that the real story wasn't about survival. It was about something far more profound, the moment a creature of the deep chose empathy over instinct. The sea was calm again, but Hannah's mind was not. She floated beside the whale, her body trembling from exhaustion and disbelief. The shark had disappeared into the deep, and all that remained was the rhythmic sound of waves and the soft exhale of the whale's blowhole. The water shimmered with golden light, and for the first time she felt truly safe, but not because she was alone, because she wasn't. The whale swam slowly around her, almost playfully now, as if sensing her heartbeat had steadied. Its enormous eye lingered on her once more, dark, reflective, full of something ancient. Hannah had spent her life studying these creatures, yet she had never been this close to one for this long. There was intelligence there, yes, but there was also tenderness. She stretched out a hand, not expecting it to mean anything. But as her fingers brushed the whale's skin, a low hum vibrated through her arm, gentle, steady, resonant. It wasn't fear, it was connection. She smiled behind her mask, feeling tears mix with salt water. "You're talking to me," she whispered, "aren't you?" For a moment, it was as if the ocean listened. The whale lingered, then dove just below the surface, swimming in slow, deliberate circles beneath her. From above, it looked like a dance, one human and one giant moving together, two lives intertwined by something invisible and powerful. The biologist in her wanted to analyze it, to assign meaning, to find data, to make it make sense. But the woman in her knew better. Some things can't be measured, they can only be felt. And as she watched the whale rise again, she realized this wasn't just another dive. It was destiny. When the whale breached, it lifted half its body out of the water before crashing down in a massive splash that drenched her. Hannah laughed, not out of fear, but pure joy. It felt like the ocean itself was celebrating. Then, as if understanding the moment, the whale released one final deep call. The sound traveled through the water like a heartbeat, and for the first time Hannah heard what it meant. "You're safe now." She placed a hand over her heart, whispering, "Thank you." The whale lingered a little longer, circling her once more before gently nudging her toward her boat in the distance, as if saying goodbye. But Hannah couldn't move. She didn't want to leave, because deep down she knew this wasn't the end of their story. It was only the beginning of a bond that would change how the world understood empathy, communication, and the hidden soul of the ocean. When Hannah finally climbed onto her boat, her legs gave out beneath her. The adrenaline faded, leaving only trembling hands and tears she didn't understand. She pulled off her mask, gasping as if she'd been holding her breath for hours. The whale's massive form still lingered nearby, surfacing now and then, watching, guarding. She waved softly, her voice breaking. "Goodbye, my friend." The whale released a final burst of mist into the air before diving deep, leaving the surface calm once again. The ocean seemed quieter without it, almost empty. Hannah sat there in stunned silence, staring at the horizon. How could she ever explain what had just happened? Who would believe her? Back on shore, her colleagues rushed to meet her. "We lost contact with you for 20 minutes, one shouted. "What happened out there?" She hesitated, replaying the moment in her mind. The shadow, the shark, the gentle nudge that saved her life. Every second felt unreal, like a dream too vivid to forget. A whale," she said finally. "It protected me." Their laughter came quickly, not cruel but disbelieving. "You mean it accidentally blocked you?" one asked. But Hannah shook her head. "No, it wasn't an accident. It knew exactly what it was doing." That night, long after everyone had gone home, she reviewed the footage from her underwater camera. The screen flickered, showing her blurred movements, the chaos, the shadow of the shark, and then, clear as day, the whale's massive body placing itself between her and the predator, again and again. She paused the video, frozen. Its eye was visible, focused, aware. She leaned closer to the monitor. In that single frame, she saw something that made her heart race. A reflection. Her, right there, mirrored in the whale's dark, glistening eye. As if the animal hadn't just been looking at her, but into her. The next morning, she sent the footage to a research group specializing in marine behavior. Within hours, they replied. The lead scientist, Dr. Patel, wrote, "We've seen similar behavior reported in humpbacks before. There are documented cases of them shielding seals and even other whales from predators, but never a human. What you captured could change how we understand their empathy." For the first time, Hannah felt relief. Maybe she wasn't crazy. Maybe this animal story was part of something bigger, evidence that the boundaries between species weren't as clear as humans once believed. She closed her eyes, replaying the feeling of the whale's presence, that pulse of protection, that ancient awareness. And in that moment, she made a promise. She would dedicate her life to proving that compassion wasn't limited to humankind. Months passed, but Hannah couldn't escape the call of the ocean. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard that sound, the deep, resonant hum that had vibrated through her chest the day the whale saved her. It wasn't just a memory, it was a summons. So when the migration season began again, she packed her gear, boarded a small research vessel, and set course for the same stretch of ocean where everything had changed. The sea was calm that morning, just like before. The light shimmered across the surface and the air tasted of salt and rain. As Hannah slipped into the water, her heartbeat echoed in her ears. She wasn't sure what she was hoping for. Maybe closure, maybe proof, maybe a miracle. For a long while there was nothing. Just the steady rhythm of her breathing and the distant clicks of dolphins far away. But then, a shadow, familiar, massive. Her pulse quickened. She froze, scanning the blue. The shape grew clearer, larger, and when it broke the surface with a slow, graceful rise, her heart nearly stopped. The whale had returned. Hannah smiled, tears blurring her vision inside the mask. It moved closer, slower this time, with a gentleness that felt almost human. She raised her hand again, trembling, and the whale did what she never expected. It turned its body slightly, pressing its fin gently toward her, as if in recognition. It remembered. For minutes they floated together, two beings suspended in silence, communicating without words. She whispered softly, "You." "I came back." A low, melodic call vibrated through the water in response. It wasn't random. It wasn't instinct. It was language. Then something extraordinary happened. A smaller shadow appeared beside the whale, a calf, barely half its size, swimming cautiously but close. Hannah's breath caught in her throat. The whale wasn't just returning. It was introducing her to its child. Her chest tightened with emotion. She realized what that meant. The same creature that had protected her had now become a mother, bringing new life into the same ocean where it once risked everything. It was trust, passed on through generations, a living testament to connection. The whale swam one last slow circle around her, the calf following closely, mimicking its parent's graceful movements. Then, with one powerful sweep of its tail, it began to descend into the blue. Hannah stayed still, watching as their forms faded into light and shadow, until all that remained was silence and her own reflection in the water. She surfaced, removing her mask, her voice trembling. "Thank you," she whispered into the wind, "for reminding me what love looks like, even beneath the waves." The ocean seemed to answer with a soft breeze and a distant splash. And for the first time in her life, Hannah understood. The bond between humans and animals isn't made of words. It's made of moments that stay with you forever. In the months that followed, Hannah often found herself standing by the shore at dawn, watching the horizon shimmer with light. Every sunrise reminded her of that day, the whale, the storm, the miracle of connection. She had seen something few ever do, a glimpse into the heart of another species, and it changed her forever. She began speaking at universities, sharing her research and her experience. But whenever she played the footage, the science faded into silence and the emotion took over. Because no graph, no statistic could capture what truly happened in that moment beneath the waves. It wasn't about data, it was about empathy. That invisible thread that connects all living beings, human or not. Hannah realized that perhaps the greatest discoveries aren't found in laboratories or on charts, but in the quiet moments when two souls recognize each other, even across the boundaries of species. The whale didn't save her because of instinct. It saved her because it understood something. Humanity often forgets. Compassion is universal. So the next time you stand by the ocean, close your eyes. Listen. Somewhere out there, a heartbeat echoes through the water. The memory of a whale who once chose love over fear. And that, perhaps, is the most extraordinary animal story of all.